Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Greenfork Food for Thought podcast. I am your host, Stephen Zabala, and today I'm doing a solo podcast because the guest that I did have intended to be on had to cancel last minute, and that's okay. I got plenty of stuff I can rant about. I kind of want to go over basically what's going on in my life right now, just a couple of things with my Greenfork business, new menu coming out. And I'm going to talk to you guys about Nutrition 101, basically how to understand nutrition, what it is, macronutrients, micronutrients, calories in versus calories out, finding your correct balance, and then some different supplements that you can take to help, supplement your nutrition, your diet plan. So a lot of good, important stuff. It'll be kind of informative today. Kind of going off my notes over here, so don't mind me looking down at my phone, but it's going to help keep me on track. So good quality, informative podcast today, and hopefully you learn something from it, and hopefully it benefits you. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me. But let's go ahead and kick it off. So today I'm feeling pretty sore, actually, pretty beat up. We did a Savage Sunday workout with my friend Katie and a whole crew of amazing people, fitness enthusiasts from around the area. My friend Katie does a really good job of getting everybody together at the Schuylerville High School track to do these workouts, and we've been doing them every 3 weeks since 3 weeks ago was the first one, and they're tough. They're track workouts. So yesterday we did a mile-long farmer's carry. And every time you sat the weights down, you had to run a lap and get back to your weight. So that was a quarter mile every time you set it down. I did 53 pounds in each hand, and I think I ran a total of 8 or 9 laps because I had to set them down that often. So my traps are killing me, my legs are killing me. I'm just, in general, a little tired, and this nice, rainy, cold kind of day is matching my vibe right now. So I'm feeling a little tired, but I feel good. It's always good to do hard things. Talk a little bit about that. I think there's a certain mentality when it comes to doing hard workouts or just, dealing with stressful situations and trying to wrap your head around the fact that, like, okay, we got to get through this. Quitting is not an option. And I felt that very evidently yesterday when my grip started to go. You're carrying these heavy weights and your mentality has to be strong. You have to push through all the bodily pain for as long as you can until you really just can't anymore. And then you get a little break, breathe, and get back to it. And eventually you're done. But having that mentality of being able to breathe and not give in to the nervous system when it just ramps up to 1,000 is a huge tool that I think everybody should have in their toolbox. Whether that's, learning how to breathe, learning how to quiet your mind down, stay focused on the mission, I think is a super important skill to have. And, you can kind of tell people that go into a workout saying like, okay, yeah, I'm going to do my best. I'm going to crush this. And then the people that go into it is like, oh, this sucks. I really don't want to do this. And I get it. People will complain the whole time, but I'm telling you, that's not doing you any favors. You got to look at it as, okay, I'm strong enough. I can get through this. It might take me a while. I might not be as good as the next person. That's okay. I might not be even as good as I was last week or last year, and that's fine too. So it's all about doing the best you can with what you got and using all those tools to help you get through it. So that's what I did, and that's what I think is really cool about doing hard stuff, like whether it's cold plunging or a hard workout or a long hike, stuff like that, or even just daily stressors, right? Like if you have a big, long day with a lot of stuff on your plate and you're thinking to yourself, oh my God, how am I going to get all this stuff done? I feel overwhelmed. Just plugging away one piece at a time really has helped me get through it. So I hope that everybody can adopt some of that mentality just to get through the hard stuff in your life. Like I said, I know it's helped me quite a bit. And hopefully we'll get some people on here. I just had a meeting with this woman that does breath work. And we were talking about that nervous system regulation today. So she's going to be on here talking about that too. But super duper important. Do hard stuff. It strengthens your mind. It helps you to get through all the stressful times. So purposely doing hard things, really, really good. What else? I got a new menu up. This week starts my new menu at Greenfork. I like to change the menu every 6 weeks to keep a little bit of variety in the food that you're eating. It's still, it's still all turkey, chicken, beef, good quality proteins, a lot of the same vegetables and a lot of the same carbohydrates, but with a different flavor profile twist on them, so you don't get bored of eating the same thing all the time. I know I do. So I have a vegetable stuffed turkey meatloaf. So I'm going to do some onions, peppers, and spinach in that. Just meat, just the ground turkey and the vegetables, no breadcrumbs. Make a meatloaf out of that, and that's going to be with mashed potatoes and green beans. Then I have the Hercules, which is just a chicken, grilled chicken breast with a cucumber salad and some greens. That's going to be really good. A nice low carb option there. Put some quinoa in there a little bit, but summer rolling around, I like to keep those low carb options available for people. I've got the yokai, which is teriyaki steak, teriyaki vegetables, and rice. And then I've got the Marley, which is grilled jerk chicken thigh with coconut sweet potatoes and curry roasted cauliflower. So those are the new 4 menu options that I have available at eatgreenfork.com. Those are going to be really good. I'm excited for that. I come up with the names. It's kind of funny how I come up with the names for these things. I kind of just get inspired by, whatever. Eden was like a spring name. Hercules, the strongest of the Greek gods. Yokai is a forest spirit in Japan, and it's a Japanese dish. That's where I came up with that. And then Marley, of course, good old Bob Marley with the Jamaican jerk chicken. So I'm excited about those things. I'm sure that people will welcome the change. After 6 weeks, people get kind of bored of eating the same thing. So, I like to mix it up. And at this point, I have like a whole year's worth of rotating menu options. But I do like to add and subtract. I'll keep the favorites. So if you are somebody that orders from me and you love a certain dish, reach out, let me know. I'll put it on the menu. I want to make you guys happy. I want to serve you what you like. So just let me know. I'm always open to that feedback. But I hope you enjoy these new menus that are coming up. Next up, let's do some basic nutrition coaching. All right. So when I meet with one-on-one clients, I pretty much do the same spiel. And that is just going over basic nutrition principles and empowering people, educating people to make the right decisions based on having this basic understanding of nutrition. So the first thing I always start with is, well, first I would ask you, what are your goals? What are you trying to do? And then we can kind of cater that towards your specific goals, your nutrition plan or your diet plan. But I'm just going to I'm going to use myself as an example today. But let's start with macronutrients. What are they? I'm sure everybody's heard that. What are your macros? If it fits your macros, that kind of thing. Macronutrients are proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. So protein obviously helps you build muscle, but it also helps your bodily processes, like your liver, your organs, all that stuff function, your brain health, all that stuff, need proteins to work basically. And those are super important. And then we have carbohydrates, which are the fuel for your muscles, right? And everything gets broken down into glucose, blood sugar, and then your body will do with it what it needs. But a lot of times it'll get stored in the muscles. If you're an active person, it'll get stored in the muscles, and that's what you use for energy throughout your workouts. And then fats. Fats are super important for brain health. They help line the walls of your neural pathways. So help you think clearer, more definitively, help you learn stuff. Also keeps your hair and your nails and your joints all healthy and happy. And that's pretty much a very, very basic way of breaking it down. I could get a little bit deeper into that stuff, but that's basics, right? So proteins, carbs, and fats, those are what should make up your diet mostly. And then we have micronutrients, which are your vitamins and minerals. And those are going to come from your vegetables, your fruits, different nuts and seeds, also from the meat that you eat as well. But you have everything from A to zinc, right? From your B12s, your vitamin Ks, your Ds, all that important stuff. There's so many of them. I'm not even going to try to name all the vitamins and minerals, but just know that those are what constitute micronutrients, and making sure that you get enough of those in your diet is really important. The best way to do that through food is to try and eat a rainbow. And I know I've talked about this on podcasts before, but when you look at nutrient density of a food, that is the amount of vitamins and minerals that are packed into a certain amount of food. So you can make sure that you're getting more nutrient density, more vitamins and minerals by choosing fruits and vegetables with a deeper, richer color. That's a good identifier that something has more nutrient density, more vitamins and minerals. That being said, it is really hard to get all your micronutrients from food. So I'll take a little segue and talk about supplements here for just a second. Because it's really hard for people, myself included, someone who is very educated on nutrition and does his best to, try to eat a rainbow every day. It's still really hard to get the sufficient amount of micronutrients from food altogether. So that's where supplements come into play, right? They supplement your food that you eat. So a good multivitamin, super important. I have no affiliation with any companies of any kind, but I do like a few companies, and I'll tell you, Thorne is a good one. Promix is a good one, Promix. Keon. Keon is a brand that I think was started by Ben Greenfield. And if you don't know who that is, he's like this biohacker, fitness, nutrition guy, big in the podcast world. And so if you're looking for good information, follow him. But he's got a company called Keon. I like their supplements. They're all very clean, those three companies that I just mentioned. And that's what you want to look for, very clean, reputable sources. Take it from me or do your own research, but those three companies are really good. Multivitamin, super important. Protein powder, really important. Again, you want to look for a clean one. You don't want a lot of extra stuff in there. Really just look for whatever type of protein it is, whether it's whey or casein or egg or rice and pea, hemp. A lot of those ones are really good, but try to stay away from anything that has natural flavors or artificial flavors. The shorter the ingredients list, the better. When it comes to anything really, protein powder though specifically, and then just make sure it's something you can tolerate. A lot of people can't tolerate whey protein, messes with their stomach, so find one that works for you, because it is hard to get. Myself, I know I need at least 180 to 200 grams of protein in a day, and that's a lot of chicken, right? So I'm not gonna eat that much chicken or steak, whatever. So I'll do a couple of shakes just to make sure that I hit those protein numbers, which we'll talk about later, how to find those numbers and make sure you're getting enough. But protein powder, very helpful in that way. Greens powder. I do like greens. I feel like we don't get enough of them. I don't eat a salad every day. But I've been doing AG1 for a while now, and I really feel like that is a great supplement. There's other greens powders on the market, but Athletic Greens kind of covers all your bases. It's a multivitamin. It's got some probiotics and prebiotics in there, so I feel really good. My gut feels really good when I do that consistently. But any type of greens powder just to supplement, again, those greens and all the vitamins and minerals that come along with eating them. And if you don't eat a salad every day, if you don't eat kale every day, then it's a good way to supplement that in. Another really super important one is a fish oil. DHEA, DHA, that all helps with your brain health, and your hair, skin, nails, joints, all that stuff. And we don't get a lot of it. I know I don't eat a lot of fish. If you eat a lot of fish, sure, you maybe don't need this, but it wouldn't hurt to get a little bit more of it. They're healthy fats, and I feel like everybody should have them in there. So a good fish oil. And then EAAs. If you're someone that works out a lot, you might need some EAAs. And all that is essential amino acids. Essential amino acids are basically protein broken down into the amino acid groups. So you can take those and they're a little bit faster absorbing and they get right to where they need to go. Whereas if you were to eat a piece of chicken or eat a piece of protein or even a protein powder, your body has to break it down, and that process takes time. Nothing wrong with that. But if you're looking for a quick hit of protein, EAAs are what you want to get it from. BCAAs is something you might have seen around. Those are great. Your body already makes those, so you don't need those. They're not essential. Branched chain amino acids. your body doesn't, it already makes them, so it doesn't really need them. So taking them is not going to hurt you, but if you're looking for an amino acid supplement, you want to look for EAAs or something with a complete amino acid profile, instead of just, the branch chains, which your body already makes. So whole foods, try to get as much as you can from whole foods, proteins, carbs, and fats. Eat a rainbow, and then also those are, in my opinion, the essential supplements that I think everybody could benefit from taking. There's, of course, a ton more. Go down a rabbit hole of that, but I'm a big fan of getting the most bang for your buck that you can get. So things like a multivitamin that covers all the bases, a protein powder, a fish oil, and EAAs, I think, are the most beneficial, most bang for your buck supplements that you can get. But when it comes to making a diet plan, the biggest part is customizing it to yourself, to the individual. So when I work with somebody, I say, okay, what are your goals? Do you want to be in a calorie deficit or not? So when we look at that, we look at calories in versus calories out, right? If you're trying to lose weight, you want to have less calories than your body's burning in a day or over the course of a week. So to get those numbers, you have to look at your BMR, your basal metabolic rate. And what that is if you were just to sit on the couch all day and not do anything, your body would still burn calories. Your brain burns calories thinking about stuff, reading, taking in information. Your bodily processes, your stomach processing food, your heart beating, your organs working. They all are muscles that are constantly working and squeezing, so they burn calories. Somebody like me, 5'11", 200 pounds, my BMR is probably around 2,000 calories. I'm not going to sit here and do the math in front of you. That'd make for a boring podcast. But I'm about 2,000 calories, let's say. And then with my activity level, if I multiply that by a certain number, it's either a scale of 1.1 to 1.3. 1.3 being I'm an athlete who works out 8 hours a day. 1.1 being, I do about an hour a day of working out, which is where I'm at. Pretty much, I'd say I work out every day. I do a little bit of something every day, whether it's a walk or a hard workout or whatever, yoga. So I put myself at about a 1.15, and that would probably get me to 2,500 calories a day. That's what my body needs just to sustain. So if I'm not trying to build any muscle, or I'm not trying to gain any weight, or I'm not trying to lose any weight, then I would want to stay right at that 2,500 calorie mark. Now, if I was trying to lose weight, then I would go underneath that, a calorie deficit. So I'd probably subtract about 500 calories. That's a good way to go. Not for everybody, for me. I wouldn't put anybody below 1,500 calories or maybe even 1,800, I think is maybe the lowest I would go, depending on how you are, how tall you are, how fit you are, stuff like that. But 2,000 calories for me would put me in a deficit. And from there, I would break it down into those macronutrients. So you take those 2,000 calories and you say, okay, I want 35% of that to come from protein, 35% to come from carbohydrates, and that leaves 30% for fats. Then I'll divide that. The proteins and carbs get divided by 4, and the proteins and carbs get divided by 4, the fats get divided by 9, and then that gets you your percentage of calories for the day. And then from there, you get your grams, right? And so then you would take the total amount of grams of each macronutrient and you would put it into your MyFitnessPal. Your MyFitnessPal will do all that calculating for you, but sometimes it's not always accurate or it's not always where you want to be, so you have to game it a little bit. You can go in to any calorie tracker app and put your own macronutrient needs in for the day, and then basically it's playing a game from there of trying to hit your numbers, proteins, carbs, and fats, without going over, without going under. It's not an exact science, right? You can give or take a couple hundred calories without even knowing it, but I feel like it's a good place to start for people when they want to learn about nutrition and learn how to get their diet under control, or even just have the feedback, right? That's the biggest thing, I think, is having the feedback of saying, okay, this is what I'm actually eating, and here's how it translates into numbers on this calorie tracking app. Now, I know it can be difficult to track everything that you eat. It can be kind of overwhelming to do that all the time and have to put everything you eat into a calorie tracker. Don't get obsessive over it, but try your best. The harder you try, the more accurate you are, the more feedback you'll get. And then you can kind of go based on how you feel, right? Am I low energy? Am I feeling good? Is this working? Give it a few weeks. But track those things, because that's super important, and it gives you the feedback of, oh, I was eating this before, not tracking, not knowing exactly what I'm getting. And then once you start tracking, you see that, oh, I'm only getting 1,500 calories a day. That's not enough. So actually getting to see what your food is worth in this numbers game kind of thing gets you to understand exactly what you're eating in a day. And once you understand that, you can eventually ditch the calorie tracking app and get a good feel for, okay, if I eat 4 ounces of chicken 4 or 5 times a day, that's going to get me approximately where my protein goals are. Same thing with carbohydrates. You start weighing out your food, get a scale on Amazon, make your meals ahead of time, which we're going to get into in a little bit. Planning for success is always super important. So you have to weigh out your food, and then that gives you that feedback. And that is super duper important for anyone trying to just understand, again, like what you're getting in a day, what you're actually getting in, rather than just going on feel. So if you're super dedicated, you really want to get your body recomped, and what that means is losing body fat, gaining muscle, for the most part, is what people want to see. We get so obsessed with the scale number, and the scale really doesn't tell you much at all. Weight loss can come from anywhere. If you don't want to lose muscle, you want to lose primarily body fat, you want a leaner look, right? People talk about getting sculpted, toned, all that stuff. That's how you do it. It's body recomposition. It's not just purely weight loss. So having this feedback, and then of course working with a coach, right? Like the coach will see those numbers, and you talk to them about how you feel, and they'll be able to adjust you however you want to go, up or down. If you feel like you're not getting enough, you're hungry all the time, then you might need to bump those numbers up a little bit, or play with the ratio of protein, carbs, and fats. But once you get those numbers dialed into where you feel good, you feel strong and healthy, and you're able to tackle your workouts and tackle your daily life without having to worry about being hungry or eating too much or too little, then it comes down to planning for success, right? And that is a huge barrier for a lot of people, and that's kind of why I do what I do. Greenfork, we do the meal prep for you, so all my meals are weighed out and portioned so that you get approximately 40 to 50 grams of protein per meal, 3.5 ounces of carbohydrates, and some non-starchy vegetables. And so by creating, either going with a meal plan that I've made, which is pretty generic, or you create your own meal plan and say, okay, I need to get X amount of this and that in every meal so that I can fill that bar up, hit my numbers for the day, and feel solid. You have to know your numbers, and then you have to weigh everything out. And it just takes a simple Google search. I mean, usually about 5 ounces of any given type of meat will get you 40 to 50 ounces of protein. Understanding that and then making your meals appropriately will set you up for success. And then adding in those supplements will also help cover the bases where you didn't get to. So you absolutely have to create that plan, and you have to weigh out your food and make sure that you're getting everything you need. And then variety. So nobody wants to just eat chicken and rice and broccoli every day of the week. That's boring. So let's start with, getting a whole bunch of protein, whether it's chicken, eggs, steak, turkey, something like that. Get a whole bunch of it on Sunday, let's say, and cook it all plain. Salt and pepper, whether you want to roast it, grill it, throw it in the crock pot, let it go for a while, but keep it plain. Same thing. Cook a big batch of rice, a big batch of potatoes, however you like them, roasted potatoes, mashed potatoes, whatever that is, whatever your carb of choice is, whether it's 1 or 2 options, and then vegetables, cook a handful of those with super simple seasoning. And that way you can adjust it throughout the week. So if you have a different spice blend that you like, and we can talk about that too, creating different spice blends, having a stocked fridge with different types of salsa and condiments that you like, that you can add to these meals over the week to switch it up. So maybe on Monday I do a Mediterranean bowl with some fresh basil and garlic and oregano, lemon juice, something like that. And then Tuesday it's taco night, so we do a taco blend with some salsa, and then I have an Asian blend, which is garlic, ginger, soy, rice vinegar, stuff like that. And that way you have these different go-to condiments or seasonings that you can add to these plain meals to help give you a little bit of variety throughout the week. So I think that's super important because, burnout is real, especially when you are tracking everything and you're trying to simplify it as much as you can. You don't want it to be so simple that you lose your mind eating the same thing every day. So that's where I come in with the variety in my meals. But again, there's different ways that you can go about creating the variety for yourself with different seasonings, different spice blends, different condiments to take these super simple meals and make them a little bit more interesting for you. Because I get it. Nobody wants to eat the same thing all the time. You get bored of it. You get kind of turned off from food that way. Myself, I've been in this game for quite a while now, and unfortunately, I kind of look at food in terms of its value nutritionally, more so than I look at it as like a new, interesting, fun dish. I'm like, how much protein is in here? How much carbs are in here? How much fats do you think is in here? And what's the quality of them? So that is my cross to bear. That is my burden. I kind of look at things in that way sometimes, not always, but when you are super focused on your nutrition and getting everything you need, then it does change your mind. It changes your mentality around, how am I getting the most nutrient dense thing possible? And, how can I also get some flavor in there? I'm fine with eating super basic and simple and plain. In fact, I think that simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. So if you can do just a plain roasted chicken and you can do that well and not overcook it, to me, that's fine. I'll take that all day over, something that is like, overproduced or overcooked or, put too much into it. And when we're talking about meal planning for the week, you don't want to sit there and make a million different dishes for yourself over the week. Just keep it super simple, and then use these little hacks, these little tools that I just described to help bring you that variety. So just to recap real quick, we've got defining your macros. What are they? Making sure you get enough of them. Using a scale, using a calorie tracker. I gave you the BMR, and then you multiply that by your activity level. You can go online, or even MyFitnessPal will do this for you, or any other calorie tracking app will do it for you. Or you can come work with a coach. I know plenty of coaches. Myself, I do nutrition coaching, but I know a few others that are great at what they do. So work with a coach, find out those macro numbers, figure out how to input them into the calorie tracker app, and then make a plan, right? Make a plan for yourself for the week and try to hit those numbers every day. It's really as simple as that. And when you start to do that and you start to incorporate, staying hydrated, getting enough sleep, making sure you're getting your workouts in, whatever that may be for you, those things start to fall into place, and I guarantee you'll start to feel better and you will start to achieve your goals. So that is my basic nutrition spiel. I'm sure there's a lot more we could get into. And of course, if you were a one-on-one client, I would be answering questions, and I would also be going over different types of training. Maybe I could do that for another solo podcast episode if I have to, just different types of training and how to match your training to your goals, because someone that, wants to train for a marathon really shouldn't be trying to max out on their deadlift or anything like that. So it's just an example, but there are different types of training for different goals that you have, and they will match with your nutrition goals, and it's all dependent on who you are and what those goals are. So maybe I'll go through another episode with that. But just so you guys understand the basic nutrition principles, I think everybody should know these things. It can help. My goal is to help educate you so that you can make smarter choices, really. When you start to look at food as nutrients, as nutrition, as fuel, you start to think about it a little differently, and over time it becomes a natural thing to try to get the best food you can. So just having that sense of awareness around it after doing it for a while, you start to look at things differently, and like I said, focus on the quality of the food and the quantity, making sure you're getting enough of it, because it's super important. So If you have any questions about anything I talked about today, please feel free to reach out. I'm on Instagram as Zabala _PRML. I'm at Greenfork Eats and www.eatgreenfork.com to take a look at my menu, or if you want to reach out there, we can discuss your nutrition goals and how to achieve them. That's about all I got for today. I appreciate you guys listening. Doing the solo ones is a little bit harder. Had that guest drop out today, but I feel like I wanted to come and do it anyway, and it's a little bit harder, a little bit more nerve-wracking to do one by myself, but it's kind of fun actually, and it helps me be more prepared for the future. So just the more times I go over this nutrition coaching stuff, the better I understand it and the better scope I can put on it. And so going from a one-on-one client kind of deal scenario to using this information on a podcast is the first for me. So hopefully I was able to shed some light on any nutrition topics that you had questions about. It's a very basic, simple understanding, and I feel like that's where everybody needs to start. Don't get overwhelmed with all the stuff out there. I know that food dyes and seed oils are hot topics right now. But if you have no knowledge and no information, don't know what the hell you're doing as far as cooking food and making a meal plan, then that stuff should not be on your radar just yet. So as you know by listening to this podcast, if you have before, I'm a big fan of covering the big blocks first, right? The bottom of the pyramid, making sure you have a basic understanding of nutrition, sleep, hydration, relationships with other people, financial health, mental health, spiritual health. All that stuff should be, big block stuff that you need to cover first before you go diving into the huge and often contradictory world of nutrition and science and all that stuff. So hopefully this helped, and thank you guys for listening, and thank you to Mike Nelson and his team at 5 Towers Media for producing this for me. Lots more good stuff to come. I've got a whole roster of people coming up in the next few weeks, booked out through June with lots of cool people, nutrition, breath work, fitness, gym owners, lots of good stuff to come. So, and much, much more. So thank you guys again. Stay healthy, my friends. Have a great day, everyone.